shopping haul take 2. Hey there YouTube, this is Bobby aka Paginator, and I have a shopping haul. You know, it's tax return season, and what does a compulsive book buyer and nerdy things shopper do when they get money? We shop. I also put Slytherin tendencies to good use and sneakily was able to get some things that other people were eyeing in the store. I'll come back to that later. But I have a bunch of books to haul as well as a couple of non-bookish things. Now I am filming at my family's, my parents' house because I am visiting for spring break and they're all at work right now. So good opportunity to film. And I actually filmed this already once and something happened to the video file, so I'm really hoping this one will like upload to the computer so I can edit and share this with you. But I should be back at home by the time this video uploads, and it'll be nice to sleep in my own bed. As much fun as it is to visit family, but you know how that goes. So, let's start with my trip to a independent bookstore called Jensen Books. This bookstore is found in Logan, Utah, and while I was there, I picked up some Lumberjanes. These are a series that's really fun. It's about a bunch of girls who attend a summer camp together, and the summer camp is Miss Quinzella Thisquin Pennyquill Thistle Crumpet's Camp for Hardcore Lady Types, and it is not your typical summer camp. There are like river monsters and magic and all kinds of strange things happening there, and we have these girls, Jo, April, May, Molly, Mal, and Ripley. And there is some LGBT rep in this series, just so you know. The first one I already have, it's Beware the Kitten Holy, and then we have Volume 2, Friendship to the Max, Volume 3, A Terrible Plan, Volume 4, Out of Time, and Volume 5, Band Together. These are from a multitude of authors: Stevenson, Waters, Allen, and Leo. If you're ever in the mood for like just a good adventure-y girl power kind of fun graphic novel series, this is a great one, and it's themed around a summer camp, which like gives me good feeling vibes. I never went to like an official summer camp, but I did a lot of camping in the summertime as a kid and still do camping in the summertime, so that just makes me happy. So I did some shopping in Layton, Utah, and I have been to the Barnes & Noble there many times, and I certainly have stuff from that store. But while I was there, I went to the mall because they have a box lunch store, and that is a store that has like fandom-y kind of good fun things, and they also donate a lot of meals to help Feeding America. So I think it's Feeding America they help, but if it's not, I'll link the appropriate organization down here or put it in a title or something. Anyway, at that store I bought a Lord of the Rings Middle-earth tabbed notebook. This is just lined pages. Let's see if I can, it always just wants to open to the tabs, but pages are just regular lined pages, but we also have some Lord of the Rings characters going across here. Look at Gandalf with this gray hat. He's so cute. Oh, Gollum, why are you the way you are? Gollum, poor guy. We have Legolas and Frodo, and I think this is Arwen, and I never remember this guy's name. Is it Aragorn? I'm probably thinking of the wrong character. But anyway, we have Lord of the Rings notebook, which I'm very excited for. Also at that store, I picked up two t-shirts because they had a sale on Apparel, buy one, get one 30% off. And so I got a shirt from one of my favorite television shows that I have watched many times, The Office. This is the Fun Run shirt. I have to read it off the shirt because I can't read this much text in the camera. It says, Michael Scott, Dunder Mifflin, Scranton Meredith, Palmer Memorial, Celebrity Rabies Awareness Pro-Am Fun Run Race for the Cure. If you're unfamiliar with The Office, it's a mockumentary about a paper company, and Michael Scott is the branch manager, and he hits one of his employees with his car and takes her to the hospital, and they find out that she might have rabies. And so he goes on this crusade of, I'm going to save the world from rabies, and they have a fun run. It's kind of ridiculous and funny, but it's a good show. And the other shirt I got is Alice in Wonderland. We're all mad here. Love that saying. We have Cheshire Cat and the White Rabbit in there as well. These are really, like, you can just feel in the texture of the t-shirt that it's a really good quality cotton, and so it's going to be nice to wear. I'm excited for that. So I went to Walmart to buy some disposable wipes for my glasses and came out with a book and a pop figure as well. So let's talk about the book. That is City of Villains by Estelle Lahr, and this is an origin story for Maleficent. I love villain origin stories. Like, hero origin stories I can take or leave, but villain origin stories, there's something so compelling about them. Like Heartless by Marissa Meyer remains one of my favorite YA books of all time because it is a villain origin story. Like, I don't know. So I'm really hoping this one will be a good one. It's quite a small book, but I want to see events that lead Maleficent into becoming the evil, crazy person that she becomes. And I'm talking Maleficent from Sleeping Beauty, not Maleficent from the new Maleficent movies. That is an entirely different, like, situation. Anyway, I'm excited for this book. And then I mentioned I got a pop figure. This is kind of a larger one because it's like a whole scene from a movie featuring a character played by Mr. Johnny Depp, my lifelong crush. We have Edward Scissorhands. Let's take a look at this. He's in the yard and he's got a dinosaur topiary behind him. It's kind of hard to see with the way the plastic is in here. I should just take it out of the box, but it needs to travel all the way home and I want it to stay nice and not get broken on the way. But we've got a little fence and the grass and the dinosaur and Edward. Oh, he's so cute. Edward Scissorhands, bless his heart. He is such a sweet boy, but he looked scary. And I think that's kind of what appealed to a lot of people about him, because he looks very, like, goth and dark, but he's totally, totally innocent, sweet, pure soul. Love that movie. And that brings us to the Barnes & Noble haul. Now, I mentioned earlier that I was using my Slytherin shopping skills. Now, I'm not officially a Slytherin, I'm a Ravenclaw, but I have Slytherin tendencies, and in, like, certain unofficial, like, house sortings, I have been sorted Slytherin. I did this with the Edward Scissorhands pop figure too, but with Barnes & Noble this happened quite a bit. Like, there were quite a few people in the young adult section, which was mainly where I stayed during this particular shopping haul, and I knew that I was going to allow myself a certain chunk of tax return money to spend, and that was going to be, like, fairly impulsive. There were a couple of titles that I went in looking for, but when a book was calling to me, or, like, I saw something, I was not afraid to, like, step in front of people in a polite way. Of course, I would say excuse me, but there was in particular one series that I picked up, and you'll see what it is because it's the only, like, full series that I picked up. I had to step in front of this man who was looking at one of the books, and he didn't touch it, but I could tell that's where his eyes were. And so I was like, oh, excuse me. And, like, very innocently just picked up those books and was like, oh, thanks for letting me step in front of you. Bye. And slithered off away to find something else. And so I hope he wasn't too disappointed, but I wanted those books. So there you go. Anyway, that happened with the series that I'll show you, and then a couple of other books that I picked up, and sometimes it pays to practice your Slytherin tendencies. Just saying. Okay. So I have two books that aren't YA, and then the rest that I picked up are. So the first one is a written for grown-ups romantic book. I don't like to say adult romance because that, like, for some reason that makes me think of, like, a bodice ripper kind of book, but no. Anyway, this is a Pride and Prejudice retelling written in the stars by Alexandra Bellefleur, and it is an LGBT written in the stars. You can see two girls on the cover. I'm really excited to read this book. This was one that I went in, like, specifically looking for, and I'm very, very interested in reading this book because I want to see how she takes the Pride and Prejudice tropes and makes them work with two women. So very interested. And then the other non-YA that I have is a classic. Barnes & Noble has like classic editions of a lot of books, and this one was actually a pretty bargain price. I think it was only $10, and it comes in this case, and then we have gold foiling on the cover. This is translated from the original. It was written in Middle English, I want to say, or Middle or Old English. Anyway, the English language is really weird, but look at this. It also has illustrations, and I fell in love with the Canterbury Tales when I first read them in my my undergrad studies before I became a teacher. And I really, like, every time I see the movie The Knight's Tale, I think about this book because Geoffrey Chaucer, who wrote this book, was a character in that movie. And I just always want to come back and read it. And I don't own a copy of it because when I read it in college, it was in this like massive anthology that I sold back to the university for pennies on the dollar of what I paid for it, because that's how college book things work. Anyway, now I have a copy and I can reread it whenever it strikes my fancy. Alright, the other book that I went in knowing that I wanted to get was this one, Firekeeper's Daughter by Angeline Boulley. And this is about an Ojibwe girl. She's 18. She has big plans to go to college, but a tragedy strikes her family and she has to stay on the res and help her mom, who's in kind of a fragile state. There is one bright spot, and she meets a new boy. His name's Jamie, and he's a new recruit on her brother's hockey team. And so she's really starting to like fall for him, but she's sensing that he's hiding something. And I don't want to say too much more because I don't want to spoil anything. Because sometimes when you read The Dust Jacket, you get spoilers inadvertently. And anyway, that's all I'm going to tell you for now. But look at how pretty this cover is. Oh, I really have been trying to pick up more Native American and First Nations literature, so I think it's exciting to find a title that's been so highly talked about. That's YA, and it fits all of those categories. Then as I was browsing, shortly after I had picked up The Firekeeper's Daughter, I sneakily snuck past someone and grabbed a copy of this book because it called out to me due to mostly the colors, and then I saw the author's name. It's Aidan Thomas, who wrote The Cemetery Boys. It is Lost in the Neverwoods, and this is about a girl named Wendy who went missing 5 years ago, and she and her brothers vanished into the woods near their small coastal town in Oregon, and she came back with no memory of where she had been or what had happened to her, and her brothers didn't come back at all. And the town's children are starting to disappear. I want answers. I want to know what the heck is going on. Is this going to be a Peter Pan thing because her name is Wendy and she has two brothers and it's the Neverwoods? Like, or is that just like a teaser situation? What is going to happen? I want to know. Alright, so now we're getting to the series that I snuck past that poor man and grabbed. It is the Graceling series. They did new covers when the fourth book just recently came out, and I have a copy of the original 3 books, but they're in my classroom and they have been kind of beat up by so many kids reading them, so I now have a beautiful all matching. These 3 are going to be paperback and then the new one's hardback, which doesn't bother me. Well, maybe a little bit, but it's not enough to deter me from getting all 4 of them. So we have Graceling, which is the first book, and then Fire, and Bitter Blue, and Winterkeep is the new one. Aren't these beautiful covers? Oh my goodness, they're so pretty. I just want to like hug them for a while. Up next we have the only YA contemporary in this haul, Charming as a Verb. This is about 2 teenagers. We have Henry, who's very, very charming, and he runs a dog walking business, and he's really popular at school, and everyone just like plays into his charmingness, except for Corinne, who is our female lead, and she discovers some things about his dog walking business that aren't exactly 100% honest. And she kind of uses her knowledge to blackmail him into helping her change her image and become a more popular person at her school. And perhaps something will develop between the 2 of these kiddos. We shall see. This cover is giving me major Abbey Road vibes with the crosswalk and everything. I know it's not the Beatles, but still. You know, how could you not? Okay, so we're down to 2 books left in the haul. This one is Everything That Burns by Gita Trelease. She wrote a book called Enchanté, and it has since been renamed To All That Glitters, which is kind of weird. Not often do we get a book that gets like actually renamed. And this is the sequel, Everything That Burns. This is a series set in France in the time of Louis XVI, and we have magic, and it's so amazing. When I read Enchanté, and I'm probably saying that word wrong, I'm so sorry, I absolutely fell in love with it, and it remains one of my favorite Instagram pictures I ever took was of that book. If I can find it, I'll stick it in here for you to see, but anyway, I really enjoyed this series, like historical plus magic, like, so exciting. You know what, I lied. I forgot there was another book in the bottom of the bag that I didn't see. So now we're down to 2 books. We have The Truth Project by Dante Medema. This is a verse novel about a girl who sends away for her DNA results as part of a class project, and she thinks, oh, this is going to be easy. I'll get my DNA, I'll like map out, everything will be fine, I'll be good to go. But the results come back that her father is not who she thought he was, like, not the guy that raised her. How does she handle that? And so this is going to be very interesting, and as I said, it is a verse novel, so we have very quick moving text. You can see a sticky note here. Last night I thought I'd start reading it, and so I read the first page, and then I kind of got sucked into a YouTube wormhole. Has that ever happened to you? Like, I was looking at somebody's subscription box opening, and next to like the linked videos there was an unboxing for a Bibbidi Bobbidi box, which is like a Disney World magical thing from the Game Boys. I don't know if you guys have seen their channel or not, but it's kind of fun. And I got sucked into like a wormhole of watching all of their unboxings of the Bibbidi Bobbidi box. So I was like living in this Disney like fantasy world in my head. And I didn't read more than the first page of this book, so we'll come back to it. Maybe after I'm done editing this video. Alright, now we're on the last book, and it is The Iron Raven by Julie Kagawa. I don't know how you say her last name. This is a continuation of the Iron Fae series, and it's Puck's story. Okay, so if you haven't read her Iron Fae series, it is about a girl named Megan Chase, and she is human but brought into the Fae world, and a lot of things happen. And there's a love triangle. We have Puck and Ash, and Puck was always my favorite choice, but characters never choose the boy that I want them to. Anyway, this story is Puck's story, and I'm going to read a little bit of the dust jacket to you. It says, Robin Goodfellow, Puck, prankster, joker, raven, fool, King Oberon's right-hand jester from A Midsummer Night's Dream. The legends are many, but the truth will now be known as Puck finally tells his own story and faces a threat from time before Fairy began, a threat that brings him face to face with the new enemy, himself. With Megan and Ash on his side, Puck begins a fantastical and dangerous adventure not to be missed or forgotten. Evenfall is coming, and with it a reckoning that even their combined powers and wits may not vanquish, as a shadow falls over the lands of Fairy and the world slips into chaos. I'm so here for this. Which book am I going to read first, though? Because I need to read this pretty soon, because when we come back from spring break, I've got a student that is going to want to read this. She's read the whole Iron Fae series, and I'm sure that she's going to be like, can I check this out right now? So I must read this soon. I also have to finish my thesis proposal. I'm so close. I have to include a 20-page writing sample, and I've got 14 of them written, so I need 6 more pages in the writing sample. I should get back to work on that. I have so much to do. Okay, which means I better wrap up this video. I hope you have enjoyed this haul. I realize I have no shelf control. I need to get my spending under control, because so far the first 3 months of this year have been a lot of purchasing and not as much reading as I usually do. So we're gonna see if we can shift that up in April. But for now, let's just enjoy the madness while we can. I hope you guys are having a wonderful, magical, and bookish day. Happy reading. Adios.